Imagine logging into your bank account only to find your life savings gone, or your social media hacked and used for fraud. Welcome to the world of cybercrime, where invisible hackers can steal your data, money, and even identity, all while sitting thousands of miles away.
22,000 was withdrawn from my M-Pesa without my consent.
Like in real time, naangalia simu yangu, pesa ikitumwa, transactions happen, and I'm not doing any of the transactions. So how is that possible?
It's like the new breaking and entering, except now it's all digital.
The e-Citizen platform has been restored more than 8 hours after it was reported to have been hacked.
The cybersecurity experts highlight the increasing frequency and sophistication of cyber attacks.
But what's fueling this surge in cyber threats in Kenya? What's being done about it? And most importantly, how can we protect ourselves from these digital villains?
I think Kenya ranks 3rd or 4th, if I'm not wrong, in Africa in mobile penetration and internet penetration. So that, of course, creates a ripe target for attackers.
According to the Communications Authority of Kenya, over 830 million cybersecurity incidents were reported in 2023 alone. That's more attacks than you can scroll through on TikTok in a year. And why should you care? Well, with all our lives going online, banking, shopping, even dating, cyber criminals are rubbing their hands in glee. Kenya is known as the Silicon Savannah.
By the end of this year, every government service must be on the digital platform.
But with great tech power comes great cyber responsibility, and sadly, a lot more cyber attacks.
Cyber crimes of identity theft and deep fakes, which are a great concern in diplomatic relations.
We have to be innovative, we have to be creative, we must benchmark with best practices elsewhere.
Now you may think cybercrime sounds like a corporate problem, but it's not. Ordinary Kenyans are at risk too. Cyber criminals are using platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, and TikTok to scam individuals and steal personal information. In the first quarter of 2024 alone, Kenya saw 33 million malware attacks targeting everyday folks like you and me. That's a staggering 151% increase from the previous quarter.
It's prudent to practice cyber hygiene. There's a lot you can lose. For instance, money, which is usually the number one target for attackers. You can lose personal data that can be used to, for committing other frauds or other crimes.
We all agree that technology can be pretty awesome, right? But the same cool tech that lets us stream Netflix or video chat our friends is also being used by cyber criminals. From malware to brute force attacks, hackers are exploiting everything, from our smartphones to our smart fridges. The growing reliance on cloud services and Internet of Things devices has only made the problem worse. Think smart fridges, wearable fitness trackers, and even CCTV cameras. Many of these devices come with weak security measures, leaving them wide open to attack. And the hackers aren't just sitting around. They've got AI tools that can launch attacks faster than you can say cybersecurity.
Avoid using outdated devices because as technology changes, you'll find that devices that were being used some time back maybe have been exploited already, and people or attackers already know the weaknesses in those devices, so it's easier to attack them.
Now let's talk money, because if there's one thing we all want, it's to keep our hard-earned cash safe. Cybercrime cost Kenya a jaw-dropping $383 million in 2023. That's over 49 billion Kenyan shillings. And unless we step up our game, the number is only going to climb. With more and more industries in Kenya going digital, from agriculture to banking, the risk of cyber attacks is climbing. If these systems aren't protected, a single cyber attack could cripple essential services.
Like e-Citizen at one point was down, and this is serving the entire 50 million population. We've had incidents with M-Pesa, which is sort of the national mobile payment platform. And a minute of outage on such systems is very costly. People cannot transact. People who are importing vehicles, for example, or even dealers who are selling vehicles, they cannot make transfers, vehicle transfers. They cannot receive payments. So the impact, even for a short time of an attack on one of these critical national infrastructure is massive.
That's where cybersecurity comes in. Kenya has a solid Cybercrime Act, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act of 2018, but laws alone can't stop the hackers. They're like a referee in a football match, essential, but not always catching every foul.
I think it's the volume of threats that we are facing versus the resources that are currently deployed to address the threats. The ratio is one to many.
And let's be honest, fighting cybercrime is like playing whack-a-mole. The bad guys just keep popping up. The Kenya National Computer Incident Response Team, basically Kenya's cybersecurity Avengers, is hard at work, detecting and neutralizing threats targeting critical infrastructure. But with outdated systems and stretched budgets, the challenge remains immense. Kenya also faces a serious cybersecurity talent gap, and the country is struggling to keep up with the rising number of attacks. It's like playing a video game where hackers are zombies, and we only have a handful of players to defend the digital world.
For financial institutions, you have to have a dedicated person who is handling cybersecurity. There are many other organizations like those in healthcare. A hospital cannot now run without a cybersecurity specialist. And you'll find that a lot of these institutions have not yet filled those gaps. So we need to invest in training, in mentorship.
But it's not all doom and gloom. While cybercrime isn't going anywhere, there's plenty we can do to protect ourselves.
Prevention is better than cure. Prevention is also cheaper than cure. So those institutions that are affected or that are normally targeted, financial institutions, healthcare organizations that might lose data, personal data, government, etc. They need to invest upfront before these attacks happen. That way, the loss, the financial loss, and even reputational loss that is bound to happen in the event of a breach is way less than the budget that they would have put in to secure their systems. So for individuals, we need to do the basic, change passwords, avoid sharing personal information unnecessarily. If it's personal sensitive information like PINs, do not share that at all. Ensure that the devices that you're using are updated, allow the devices to update software automatically, etc. So again, at the personal level, there's a lot one can do to protect themselves.
The bottom line is, we've all got to be a little more cyber smart, because in the world of cybercrime, knowledge really is power.